Welcome on into 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. And Jackson, some listeners may realize, wait a minute, didn't they already do this? And the answer is yes. We were down at the Levy on Wednesday night due to some technical errors. We did not have audio from that recording, and so here we are on Thursday morning with an update of a look at Friday and Saturday's games.
A touch bit of Groundhog Day, but still nothing has happened yet, so maybe our opinions have changed ever so slightly on these games.
Wouldn't it be really funny if I did pick entirely different games?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here like just in complete tailspin. Well, regardless, it's, technical issues. It happens. No big deal. Yeah. We're back where, in the old stomping grounds, which is also the new stomping grounds. It's a real convention.
The third stomping grounds,
yes.
Some would even say.
Yes. And is the Levy number 4 or 3.5?
Levy's 3.5.
Okay.
Because we're still here.
Right. It's a residency. It's not a...
Short-term residency. I like that.
Yeah. There you go. Well, either way, we have two tri-state favorites at the collegiate level playing this weekend. We've got what I would think is the best slate of high school football that we've had so far this year, and maybe that we will have until playoffs hit.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. We'll talk in depth about those, but we do want to start on the college side. Brad, what do you got for us this week?
Well, let's talk first about our predictions so far, our standings. You are 12-1 on the college side. I'm 11-2.
Just barely got it.
Barely there.
But don't worry, I've embarrassed my family otherwise.
On the high school side, we are tied at 9-4.
I was legitimately like 4 games ahead of you. 2 weeks.
You had like a perfect week one time, and then I was just
the first week, didn't I? I think I was like 4. I was 4-0,
and then it just fell apart from there.
I think I went like 4-1. Or I went to like 7-1, and now the wheels have come off. I've gone like 2 and 3 cents.
Yeah,
it's a real nightmare for me.
Some would say you're the kind of team that just starts out strong and falls off, and once you get into conference play, whereas maybe I'm the kind of team that has a bad non-conference and works its way up and historically performs in the latter half of the season.
While I would be willing to give you a tri-state team, like for your example.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to give one to mine.
Okay.
I don't want to throw a school under the bus like that.
Well, let's talk about Louisville and Bowling Green.
There we go. We can do that.
Louisville, which is a team that is going to be strong at the very start of the season and face some challenges in the ACC.
Naturally.
But I would argue is still in like that top 4, top 3 favorites at this point. It looks like Miami is kind of the standout. But,
yeah, because Carson Beck can play football now.
Yeah. He's being allowed to play.
Who knew that was going to happen?
Georgia Bulldog fans.
No, Georgia did not. They were pumped that he left.
Yeah.
They thought Gunnar Stockton was going to, which he looked great last weekend.
Crazy.
It doesn't make any sense. It must just be a fit thing. Either way,
it must have been, yeah.
Carson Beck's balling. Louisville's got their hands full at the top of the ACC.
Yeah, they're not starting with the ACC yet. They are playing Bowling Green State University. Bowling Green is 2-1. Louisville's 2-0. Louisville with 2 wins over Eastern Kentucky and James Madison. Bowling Green with the loss to Cincinnati earlier 2 weeks ago now. Yeah. So this game is at noon in Louisville. It is currently at a 26.5-point spread. In favor of the Cardinals. This is the first game both teams are ever playing against each other. The one that surprised you, I know.
Yeah, it's really strange that wasn't like a paycheck game in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and especially, it's just because in my head I'm like, I would feel like Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana teams have all played each other once.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Ball State has played UK.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like Toledo has played UK. They played them earlier this year, obviously.
Yes.
But just it's situationally, like it's just like how is that the blind spot?
Mm-hmm. Before I even go over stats, I will say that I believe we are both picking Louisville to be outright winners on this game.
It's just by how much?
Yes, that is always the question. And quarterback Miller Moss, 30-48 so far this year, 374 yards over 2 games, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So to me, that's a solid. The piece of that was the questions in the James Madison game. That first half, a lot slower for the Cardinals. Offense was not getting off to a good foot. but was able to pick it up in the back half and come out with the victory. Running back Isaac Brown does have 230 yards on 18 carries, the longest one being one of 78 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Clev Leben, a defensive lineman, 3.5 sacks, 14 tackles, 9 of those solo. What else? What can you really say? I mean, Pudge the Cat's going to be there. That's cool. My favorite honorary mascot of a team so far this year.
For some reason, that made me think of, and I know this is dumb, but have you seen the commercial? It's a Geico commercial.
Okay.
Where the gecko, gets recognized in public.
Yes.
And he makes a big deal about like how you never meet animal celebrities, and then Doug the pug is around.
Yeah, I have seen that one.
Pudge the cat made me think of Doug the pug, that's just what I sat here and thought about for half of that. But point being,
yeah,
sorry, just a little. This podcast never really has a direction.
No, of course not.
I think that the JMU game was a testament to JMU being a sneaky all right P4 or P5 team or G5 team. There we go. Yep. Whereas this game is going to kind of serve as the last chance for Louisville before they hit conference play to just like fire it up, shoot, get everything in line before you hit some of those big hitters.
Finish getting the kinks out.
Exactly. I think that they establish a real big lead and then probably let it dwindle late. But you need to use as much time as you possibly can to figure out everything because this is the last simple test that you have. Like it gets a lot more complex after this.
Yeah, next week is Pitt.
Yeah.
It's a game that
who lost the backyard brawl.
Who did lose the backyard brawl.
Did not have that on my bingo card. But Rich Rod, shout out.
And it's one of those circles of transitive games. So if Ohio beats West Virginia, who beats Pitt, who beats Louisville, eventually if Miami beats Ohio, does that mean Miami is a better team than Louisville at the very end of it all?
Quite possibly. It certainly means OU is better than Pitt at this point.
Yeah.
Like that I can follow simply.
But that is fair.
But yeah, no, I think that this is one of those ones where it's what you said the line was like 26 and
26 and a half, yeah.
I think I would personally think that that's going to be a higher margin of victory for Louisville here.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. To me, I'm more of like a 3 touchdown spread person in my head, but as I've said, we're not sports books and we don't set lines.
No.
So
we're also not giving gambling advice.
Not at all.
I'm using the line to suggest how big of a difference I think this game will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving on to the other hometown favorite,
yes.
Miami, first home game of the year up in Oxford, taking on UNLV at noon.
Mm-hmm.
UNLV 2.5 point favorites still. That did shift, I believe, yesterday. Rebels are a very scrappy team, 111 penalty yards per game. That is the second highest in FBS versus FBS opponents. Notably, their 3 games so far were against Idaho State, Sam Houston, and UCLA.
Yeah.
Both the Idaho State and UCLA games were 1-score differences.
Okay.
So 38-31, 30-23 for UCLA. UCLA is not looking as good as some people might have suggested or thought they would early on this year after the transfer in of Nico Amalaiva.
Yes. He also they've also fired their coach.
They also fired their coach.
Like they're things have gone sideways. The UNLV game led to the dismissal of a coach already. It's but that also kind of gives me symbols as I understand that UNLV is a G5 and whatever, but that was the game that was the nail in the coffin. Almost kind of feels disrespectful a little bit because I do think UNLV is a pretty good team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a bad. It's not like it's like a young coach that's causing an upstart team this year or something like that. It's it's a solid coach that has a program that are when you think of G5s, a lot of times you think of a Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
James Madison only because of that run that they had for a while.
I do still think UC because they were the playoff rep in the
UC in a way, yes.
But obviously they're not anymore. But they are one of the shining lights there.
But I always think back to what was that? Was that 08 with the was it
the Boise
Fiesta
State
Bowl?
Stuff? Yeah,
where the Boise State won and things like that. Boise State has been a team that has always kind of taken a step above. And then I think there's pieces of the MAC, whether it's Toledo, Miami, or Ohio, who have kind of sometimes take that step out and rise up and are in that contention for G5. I mean, Southern Florida, UCF also.
Coastal had some time.
Coastal.
Where they were 10, 11 wins.
Even FAU in a way.
When Lane was there.
Under Kiffin.
Yep. Point being, like you don't.
Now Tulsa. Or not Tulsa, Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane. Summerall. I saw Lane said that he thought Summerall would get a SEC job, and everybody's like, which SEC job, Lane? We would love to hear your thoughts on that. But regardless, UNLV, their track record right now, Barry Odom had him in a really good spot last year.
Yep.
He's now gone to Purdue.
Yes, he has.
And Dan Mullen, a proven SEC head coach, Florida's been chasing Dan Mullen results since they fired Dan Mullen. He steps into UNLV and takes over, has talented guys on that roster, very functional, very composed, 3-0 so far. I understand that the quality of competition might not be all the way there, but I think that going into that game, I would have thought UNLV was going to beat UCLA anyways.
Sure.
And so for that to be the game that the coach gets fired on, that's just kind of bewildering to me. That said, they have had a really impressive start to the year.
Yes.
Miami not quite finding the same in the wins and losses.
And this is my thing where we look at Miami as 0-2, UNLV is 3-0. In a way though, I sit here and I go, is Miami the better team of the four that UNLV has played so far at this point? The only reason I question whether they're better than UCLA is that you have Chuck Martin, you have a program that has grown. Like, yes, this team is still fresh in the sense that it's a lot of transfers, it's a lot of new recruits, it's a lot of like figuring out what's working, and I think that's a piece of why the Wisconsin game went the way it did. But things started to click more against Rutgers, where now you're playing a team that I would still put below both of those if it played in the Big Ten. Whereas UCLA might be the bottom of the Big Ten right now.
I think so. Which now granted, you lose to the middle of the Big Ten versus you beat the bottom of the Big. It's kind of tough. But I would say that as far as cohesion goes, even at 0-2, I would still put Miami above UCLA. I would still put Miami above the other two teams that
Idaho
you mentioned.
State.
It just
Sam Houston, yeah.
Because the difference with UCLA and Miami is UCLA can out-talent them, but Chuck Martin's team is still ultimately a team. UCLA was splintering before the season even started.
Yes.
So you knew that there were going to be problems there.
Well, and I'm looking at the Big Ten right now. UCLA is the only 0-3 team.
Yeah.
Northwestern is 1-2, and then it's a lot of 2-1s and things like that. Not a lot of conference play, but it's such a tiered conference that I do go, well, is UCLA its own tier at the bottom now, where it's even below Purdue, even below Northwestern, or are those three kind of in that same spot where one may break out this year?
I think it's, and I know this is rather unfortunate that I'm about to say this.
It's okay.
I apologize. But it's them two and Purdue. Northwestern and Purdue. And Purdue's still building. Barry Odom's new coach, whatever. Northwestern has perennially been what they are. They've just kind of settled in. They are very much like a Vandy, where it's if the temperature hits it just right, you have Jay Cutler year, you have Diego Pavia years. Things can work, but you're still probably not more than 8 or 9 wins. And after that happens, everything disperses anyways.
Yeah.
Nature of the beast. UCLA was rotten to the core when everything started.
Yes, that is true.
Everything felt wrong about UCLA coming into the year. So I say all that to say the distractions took UCLA out. I still think Miami has a long ways to go. I do think that at the end of the year, Miami will have had a more impressive season than all of the teams that we've talked about in terms of who UNLV has played. I think they probably beat UNLV at the end of the year. I don't think they beat them right now. I think the momentum for the Rebels is going to kind of carry them into 4-0 as Chuck Martin continues to work through his historic trend of starting slow.
Mm-hmm. I do. Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, last year 1-4 to start the year. 2016 they were 0-6 and still finished 6-7.
Right.
Like they won 6 games in a row to get to a bowl game. It's one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, can I really doubt this team?
No.
as much as it goes. 2018 1-3, 6-3. 2019 1-3 to close out, 7-3. Like all of these, yeah. The point being, Miami may play tough teams in the non-conference and at the start of the year, but they seem to always finish well in the MAC. And one of the big things that I noticed was that DeQuan Finn threw 251 yards against Rutgers on the weekend. They're 5-1 inside of Yager Stadium last year. Keith Reynolds is seeming to be that target now for Finn as well. Has 7 catches for 120 yards, 68 of those coming after the catch. To me, that's a sign of a offense starting to fire, and it's still this thing where I go, okay, this is still your kind of last test before you get into MAC play, and you definitely need to be locked in and going.
Right.
But showing that against a Rutgers team that is pretty solid, I think adds value going into this game where I am going to lean Miami. I think it'll be a very close game, like a 3-point, maybe a touchdown difference. Mm-hmm. But I will go with Miami while you go with the Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a close one. It's not a lack of competition. I think it'll be a great game to watch.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of great games on Fox.
There are
this
a ton of great games this week. Starting off at noon, Texas Tech at Utah.
Fantastic.
Very good chance that is either one or both representatives of a Big 12 championship game. Tech is fun. Utah always puts out a good product. That would be if I would like. All bias aside of like who you want to root for and things like that, like that's just a fun game to watch.
Well, especially because like a lot of people probably haven't seen Tech at this point, but they have like millions of dollars worth of players right now. Like they spent $25 million allegedly, on their roster this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's reported anywhere. So,
well, yeah, like
allegedly is very good.
But I also heard that on, I think it was ESPN. Mm-hmm.
They're probably digging somewhere. But
point being, Tech has invested a lot of money in their football program. Look like it. Mm-hmm. While as Utah, they've always kind of got it figured out. Yeah. They might not be a 10-win program every year, but Whittingham knows how to field an 8-win or better pretty consistently. Kind of that Paul Chryst model up in Wisconsin for all those years.
Absolutely.
Just has it lined out. Very good game.
And Cincinnati will be playing Utah later this year. So,
yeah,
little preview of what's to come for the Bearcats.
Do your homework.
North Carolina playing Central Florida at 3:30. Your
Scott
favorite,
Frost,
Scott
yes.
Frost,
Yep.
Bill Belichick.
There's a lot of coaches that you're about to run through that we had the revelation of on stage yesterday.
Yeah.
Just being like, wow, okay, these are names that
you like to bring up as much as you can.
Yeah, like genuinely. Like Dave Aranda comes up in our personal conversations.
Yes.
Like in most of them, somehow. And, yeah, Baylor is playing Arizona State tomorrow. Kenny Dillingham, also a fun one to talk about.
I do like Kenny Dillingham, too. Yeah, that was what I was about to say. I was like, you like talking about Dave Aranda. I like Kenny Dillingham sometimes.
Well, because every time I hear Dillingham, it's like I almost just don't believe that it's a head coach.
That's fair.
And, like, not in a bad way. Like, dude knows how to – dude got his team to the playoffs. Like, he's doing something right. But you're just like, really? Like, that's what you're – okay. It's just all very confusing.
And then finally, the late game, closing out the schedule on Saturday, Michigan State at USC, Lincoln Riley.
Not super pumped on him.
Not your favorite.
No.
Not my favorite brisket cooker. And do you know it
yes,
was one of those
I know
things,
that picture.
Oh, no. I know you know that. But do you know who Michigan State coach is?
Jonathan Smith, right?
Okay, yeah. It was one of those things where I'm in my head, I'm like, I could only think of D'Antonio for so long.
Because the only reason I know that is because it was DJU's coach at Oregon State the one year he was good.
Fair enough.
And so I was just like, oh, that's that. DJU essentially got him hired at Michigan State, and I don't think he's staying much longer because Michigan State continues to not succeed.
Yeah, not to the level that I think Spartan fans want them to.
Right. They want to be at least a 9-win.
Yeah.
Something consistent.
But it is the battle of the Warriors
Yes.
Spartans versus Trojans.
Is that not supposed to be the Trojan War? Is that not?
It was
Yeah.
the Trojan War. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's and somebody I saw online say this needs to become a rivalry game with a trophy, and it's just a Trojan horse.
That would be fantastic. The size of the field.
Yeah.
Because wasn't the Trojan horse supposed to be massive?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Because they had to hide a bunch of people inside of it. Like, it had to be huge.
Had to be huge.
That was the whole point.
And they had to believe that it was a gift.
Welcome to the History Podcast with Brad Pushcart, Jackson McCarty. All right.
But speaking of rivalry games, do we have a great one this week in high school football?
And speaking of history, the GCL South runs deep.
Yes.
Moeller, St. X, meeting in our FOX19 game of the week this week. Fantastic teams. St. X rolling in undefeated, 4-0. Moeller fresh off their international tour at 3-1. Mm-hmm. The only team they lost to was a behemoth from Chicago by 3 points?
Yes.
It was very narrow.
No, 1 point.
1 point.
43 to 42.
Yeah, I was even making it too big a spread there.
Yeah.
I have been looking forward to this game since baseball season ended.
Yeah.
Really, maybe even since football season last year ended. Because anytime you have the chance to see Matt Ponatowski, who is, we've talked about him 1,000,001 times on here. If you're a UK fan, you certainly know who he is. A very, very talented quarterback going up against a defense like St. X with Daniel Vollmer, Kobe Clapper, like Aiden Reeder. Like, it's such an enticing game to get ready for. And St. X, prior to the year, my big question on them was, how do you use Daniel Vollmer? Did not use him on offense. Mm-hmm. Did not use him how I thought they would. He's only run the ball like 10 times to this point. And what does your passing attack look like now that Chase Herbstreit's gone? Proud to report, Jackson Frey has figured it out. He's put up good numbers, looks like a very capable quality quarterback, leading their offense, being comfortable in doing so. Essentially, game managing, and that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Game managing to what that defense gives them. A lot of times kind of what Winton Woods could get away with. Bryshon Brown, for the earlier part of his career when he was still developing, he would just, take what was given to him, make it work, and they won a lot of games like that. I don't know how to feel about that going into such a high-stakes, high-emotion game as Moeller St. X is always bound to be every year.
Absolutely.
But I do know that we're going to have what I assume is 3 or 4 people. I don't know that we could, at that game, like early to kind of set it up pregame, like showing it on Fox 19 on Friday during our Dayside shows. But I don't know that we could possibly put enough staff out there to symbolize how massive a game it's going to be. We could send everybody in this building, and it's probably still not enough people.
I have like 3 field producers and 5 live talent. Yeah,
it's gonna be huge. And they're, if you live near West Claremont High School, which I'm like not just super far from, be prepared for traffic impacts.
Yes,
because like that's where they're playing. Because obviously Moeller does not have a home football field right now. They're booking it out in Wolves country. Very excited to see this one unfold.
What are your keys to victory for both teams here?
Okay, so the big one for St. X, obviously, stopping Ponatowski, which we do know is possible. Mm-hmm. And I want to give credit because, first and foremost, Princeton. I'm going to their game, Lakota East and Princeton this weekend. Or I say this weekend, Friday. Yeah. We have not talked about the Vikings. We need to talk about the Vikings very soon.
Okay.
Had I not had them this week, I probably would have put them up, but I will find a reason to talk about the Vikings because they have a very real chance of winning the GMC. I say all this to say, and the reason they're getting brought up is because when Moeller beat them earlier this year, Ponatowski got limited pretty significantly. He's had over 200 yards in every other game, but in the Princeton game, he had, 79 yards, 9 completions on 21 attempts. Mm-hmm. It's possible to limit him. It's possible to contain him. And I know Tyler Johnson's a very talented running back. But if you can keep Ponatowski's numbers below like 150, if you're the St. X defense, maybe even just below 200 as a blank space, you feel so much better about winning that game because that means your defense maintained expectations. We're coming into this game thinking they should be able to rattle Ponatowski as good as he is. They should be able to somewhat contain him because their linebacker core is really what everything's built in. It's 3 D1 commits. It's Vandy. It's it's Vandy. It's Wisconsin. It's Notre Dame. There we go.
Yes.
So much talent there. For Moeller, it's cutting through that defense, and it's kind of forcing the pressure on Frey, on their quarterback, and saying, look, we understand that you're still growing as an athlete. Like, this is your first real year as a starter. We need to take advantage of that. It's get after him. It's sack him. Their running game, they have a multitude of talented dudes. I'm not inherently – I haven't seen either one of them be true game changers yet, so that doesn't entirely scare me. If you're going to make them lean on the run game, it can be successful. I don't know that it's going to be, like, get out super far ahead of a really talented Moeller team successful, though.
Okay.
I think it's good enough to beat a 7-win team, the run game. I don't think it's good enough by itself to beat Moeller. So those would be the big things that I'm focusing on in this contest.
Interesting. And, I this, as we pick games each week, this is arguably the hardest one.
Yes.
I think in any week that we're going to have.
It's tough. It's really tough.
I know you're going to say, go ahead, Brad. Make your pick.
I am. I figured as though you knew that's where I was already going to be leaned into, so I was just going to let you take the floor.
And, I think I got to stick with my pick from yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is Moeller.
I get it.
Still. I like Ponatoski. I like what he does on the field. The fact that he hasn't thrown an interception so far this year is, like, even when he's being held to 79 yards, he's not making mistakes.
Right.
Is that key thing there. And as you mentioned, with having the defense cut through, I think Christian Harris is a good option to put a lot of pressure on to Jackson Frey and maybe rattle him a little bit.
Having Christian over there is definitely a scary spot. Obviously, last year, St. X lost to Moeller twice, combined 13 points. Mm-hmm. Just super, super close. The chip is firmly on the Bombers' shoulders. I think that they go ahead and beat them in this matchup. Since it is still that neutral side feel, I think a lot of people show up both directions. I think St. X wins this one, kind of shocks Moeller a little bit, and then we probably see it again in the playoffs. And obviously I'm not going to predict that one just yet, but I do think that it's really hard to beat a team twice. Mm-hmm. I think St. X has the talent readily available this year to make it happen. And to be perfectly honest, I think Frey is a more consistent passer than Herbstreit was. I think Herbstreit, a lot of his value was in his run game, which St. X still does have some talent in, and things have shifted. Like, I understand Vollmer was an 800-yard or something back last year. Not using him this year has been weird to me, but they very clearly trust the other two guys, which it gives me enough credence to say that where they're operating out of, I like how it looks. I feel something feels different about this team to me than it did last year. Give me the Bombers.
All right.
So game number 2, we've already talked about how that one could very much signify who wins the GCL South. Those, I would assume, are the two front runners.
Yes.
Coming into the season, we knew Anderson was going to be an ACC front runner. Was not entirely sold that Kings was going to be the next team up, but it seems as though that's where we've landed ourselves, because Anderson took down Lebanon, Kings took down Winton. These two are still hanging very strong in the ECC and offering very different ways of getting there, but still very interesting none the same. So we'll start with Anderson. It's the devil we know. They are undefeated. They put up 40 points like every week. Their defense holds teams to like 10 points every week. It is a wash, rinse, repeat cycle for Evan Dreyer, Owen Scoff, and the Raptors that just continues to work week over week, year over year, and they almost look like they're impervious to losing talent.
Yeah.
It's impressive because they shouldn't have been able to lose Trace Jalek and Justice Burnham and all of those guys, Caden Peening, and like all of this absurd talent they had last year, and then just immediately rebound and open the year and beat Cooper 52-10. That shouldn't have been possible, but they did it. And their offense is just completely on fire all the time. To read you off a couple stats here, Owen Scoff, like I mentioned, over 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Nobody else on this list has 1,000, and he's well clear of that line.
Yeah.
I know that continuously blows your mind. I like to get Anderson on this podcast because I like to see your reaction to the lines of their quarterbacks. It was same drill last year with Burnham because he ended the year with like 4,000 yards in like 10 games.
Why not?
Yeah, because they're insane. But Jordan Davis, the running back, over 300 yards, 7 touchdowns as well. It's not just a passing attack. They've got 3 receivers over 200 yards, Tegan Jalek, Cooper Kathman, Tyson Weaver, and then Brady Kuhn on defense, 3.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. Very talented team. The Ace Alston, Kamari Ty, we mentioned them a lot on the defense. Just tough to get around.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the team that we don't get to talk about as much, Kings. Now, we did talk about them earlier this year with the Winton and Kings game that they ended up winning. Again, like I mentioned, they are also undefeated. Some of their wins, win 16-14, Sycamore 44-7, Loveland 24-14, and then West Claremont 31-0. Somehow out-defensed Winton. That was the big takeaway in that game because they got out-yarded by like over 100. But it was their ability to just hang tough, get through the rough spots, still manage to win. I don't think I think Kings might have scored like a field goal or maybe it was just a touchdown in the second half. All the other scoring happened in the first half.
Okay.
So it was when things got tough, they just shut things down.
Yeah.
And traffic stopped going through. Grant Nuri, their quarterback, I think provides a lot more value than the stat line is initially going to tell you. I've seen him play a handful of times, and every time I leave, I'm like, no, that's a good quarterback. That guy knows how to run the game. And not to say that I go in like doubting it, but he knows how to keep things moving, and they stay where things are supposed to be. It was the same drill last year. He's got over 700 yards, 68% completion rate, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then over 100 rush yards and 4 touchdowns there as well. Mistake-free, simple, easy, effective.
Yeah.
Max Lockwood, their running back, over 250 rush yards, 5 touchdowns, 5.3 yards per carry. Easy.
Solid numbers.
And then Jack Pearson, I would say, is their leading defender with 2 sacks, but they are very much a committee approach. It's when I eat, you eat. While 2 sacks is leading the team, I think they had like 8 as a collective. I think they had a handful of interceptions, but that hasn't really been their game, if I remember right. It's just uniform football. You know what I mean? Like everything looks as it's supposed to be. It looks like it came out of practice, and there is no I in team, pretty much. Like you know who the quarterback is because that's the guy who touches the ball every play, but you're not inherently going to have to know who's getting the tackle. You just know that somebody got to the ball.
Yeah.
And easy football to follow there.
Easy breezy.
Yeah.
Cover girl.
So Brad, I will, because this is the easy one, I'll go first. And I say easy. I think Kings has the chance to make some noise in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But Anderson has become a different entity.
Yeah.
Their offense is just horrifying. And until I see one bad game from Owen Scoff, I'm just going to have to lean in favor of the Raptors.
This is going to be the most insane comparison that I've ever made in my life that you're going to look at me like that for.
Okay. I'm practicing.
How much Super Smash Brothers Melee have you ever played in your life?
Not much.
But you know Super Smash Brothers, like the characters thing.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, Fox from Star Fox is considered the best character.
Yes.
To a point where it's just above and like in its own tier above every other character.
Just like that overpowered.
Just like even and it wasn't like anything changed. It was just like as people discovered the ways to make it work, it was just unstoppable.
Okay.
That feels like Anderson to me.
Yeah.
Anderson is the Star Fox, is the Fox of
I agree.
local football.
I'm with that. Yeah, like it's because like I understand like in the playoffs eventually they get into close games, but in the tri-state it's like I'm yet to really see many teams that hang in there. Like Winton is the only one, and Winton's already fallen this year. Like Anderson could totally take advantage of that, and like they did lose a handful of defenders. The Warriors did, to where I don't know if their defense is going to have that same amount of punch that to keep up with this Anderson offense, because I'm almost somehow more scared of this Raptors offense than I was last year.
I know, and that's That is so true, because it's like looking at 1,300 yards over 4 games already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they putting in the water in Anderson?
Well, and like Owen looked good in like the garbage, because there was a lot of garbage time with the Raptors last year. He looked good.
Yeah.
But it was still like, okay, ultimately he is the backup. He's going to have to grow into his role. No, he didn't. He didn't have to. There was no waiting. There was no need.
He was grown.
Yes, correct.
He was grown.
They had, it feels like the Alabama quarterback room back when they were winning natties, whenever it was like, oh, Jalen Hurts is down, let's put in Tua.
Yeah.
Oh, they're both graduated, here's Mac Jones. And which, in like, I know currently, like in the NFL, like Jalen Hurts is the only one that you're really even considering as like an above level option. But at the collegiate level, to have 3 NFL starting quarterbacks at a certain point in time, it's absurd. And so whoever follows up Owen Scalf in a couple years, that guy's going to be insane, I'm sure, because that's just kind of how they roll.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's an agreement again.
Yep. And he's and then we got.
I was
one more,
closing it out. Let's head over to Northern Kentucky in your triangle of chaos.
Yes,
as you love to call it.
I do. So this one is interesting, and we have the potential for a triangle of chaos. 2 weeks ago, some point in time, we talked about how Ryle and Highlands are probably the best 2 remaining Kentucky teams. Since that happened, Ryle lost to Cooper, and then lost last week to Christian Academy of Louisville by 17 points. Or 7 points.
7 points. Both games by 7 points.
Yes. Very close games, very good teams. Cooper was a team that we were very high on coming into the year. No sweat off my back, but they are now 2-2. Highlands still hanging pretty tough. They're 3-1. Big wins over Campbell County, Frederick Douglass, and then Cooper already, like mentioned. And then lost to Boyle County. If you'll notice, they both have results against Cooper. The triangle of chaos would be if Ryle beats Highlands. They have all lost to each other and then beaten each other in just one big continuous triangle, you see. And that would be very poetic, at least in my opinion, not just for Northern Kentucky football this year, but for Tri-State football this year. Because while there are obviously a couple teams that are like Anderson and like Moeller and St. X, it feels like everybody is very closely aligned in talent, especially in Kentucky. Point being, we know we've talked about Ryle more than we have Highlands on this podcast. We know what has become our Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw went to school together stat of Nathan Varax and all of the notable seniors on this team playing together from 3rd to 8th grade. Something I learned that I have not told you.
Okay.
And this is all hearsay that I heard on the sidelines of Ryle versus Cooper, so take it with a grain of salt. I did know that Cam O'Hara's brother played at Ryle.
Okay.
Apparently, they were very, very close to the Cam O'Hara collective of kids that played at Cooper last year, also playing at Ryle.
Oh, interesting.
So it would have been Cam O'Hara at quarterback instead of Varax, who would have been a receiver most likely.
Okay.
And then all of this, they would have been the most untouchable team.
That would have been a nutty team.
Because like that also means that like probably Austin Alexander went.
Yeah.
And like both of the Jalix in Anderson. But it's just one of those things that's like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
Either way. Highlands, we don't get to talk about near as much. They have been very impressive. Rio Littmer has put up some great numbers. Was not really on my radar at the beginning of the year. Absolutely is now. Taylor Lorenzen is a weapon that you have to be wary of every single week. Gabe Williams, their running back, over almost 200 yards and a touchdown, almost 150 receiving yards. He's got that dual threat ability. I think that I've almost grown tired, in a sense, of trying to predict Kentucky football games.
Yeah. Because
it is just chaos incarnate everywhere you look. Mm-hmm. So, Brad, would you like me to go first here, or would you like to go first?
Go ahead, because I would like to hear what justification behind your pick you use, because I think that there's like 9 ways that you can arguably make a pick in this game.
Absolutely, and because I think I just think it's hard to bet against Jacob Savage at Ryle. I've watched him decleat and de-helmet Cam O'Hara. I've watched him run for 65 yards that got called back for holding. I've watched him almost hurdle a man standing up. He got flipped over I don't know if I got to show you that highlight.
I don't even think you showed me that one.
I'll show you.
Okay.
It's in the package that I ran. He jumps and he gets his foot clipped and he does like a full somersault and whatever. But like he did almost clear a man that was standing up. And like I'm not impervious to how insane that is. Yeah. Because it happened right in front of me. Like for a minute I thought he was going to land on me. Like there was, there was some concern to be had. But he's just one of those athletes that I think if he's on the field, he's kind of like Devlin Daniel and Indian Hill. It's just like I don't really feel that great betting against that guy.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, while Highlands, I would argue, is the more cohesive unit at this point in the season, I am going to lean towards the Raiders because I do ultimately think that they are the most cohesive team that you can pretty much assemble with how deep their ties go.
Yeah. I think I'm going to agree with you on it because I do like Jacob Savage a lot as a player.
So talented.
I also think that the defense of Ryle is likely going to cause a lot of issues for the Highlands offense.
I would agree.
Whether it's trying to get the run game off the ground or try to get a passing game in the air, you've got so many sacks, interceptions already just off of like 3 guys.
Literally. Yeah. It's absurd that like Dylan Lee has 3 picks.
Yeah.
Kai Workman 0.5 or half a sack.
Half a sack and an interception. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, pick a part of the field, man.
Jacob Savage 5.5 tackles for loss. We talk about it as a runner, but yeah, he's a defender as well.
He's almost got as many tackles for loss as he has touchdowns.
Right.
It's like okay.
Yeah, he's a fantastic linebacker.
And so yeah, I will agree with you on Ryle this week. And also just because I do love the connection that team has.
It's hard not to.
Carrying on. So
I would like to implore all of you to watch Final Quarter this week because it is genuinely a fantastic slate.
Yes.
And then again, like you can set your TV to Fox, which like I have Spectrum, I know it's channel 3 on Saturday, and not have to change it from 11 a.m. to like 10 p.m.
Yeah, basically. I mean midnight.
Yeah, whenever Big Noon Kickoff starts to the end of football.
Yeah.
And then our newscast.
We don't even have a newscast.
Oh, you're right,
because
it's on 19.3. Yeah. So, but yeah, like you can not change your channel and have fantastic content for hours and hours and hours. It is a great weekend to be a football fan.
It is a fantastic weekend for football fans. It's also a great weekend for fans of other sports. Mm-hmm. Volleyball is wrapping up non-conference this week. A lot of teams are going to be finishing playing, including Kentucky is heading to Louisville tonight on Thursday. Big rivalry matchup.
Yeah.
2 top 10 teams.
Very.
I have a sit-down interview with middle blocker Brooke Baltima from Kentucky, who is a Ursuline Academy graduate. So talk to her about her growth, what she's been working on, her goals for this year, and kind of as the team continues, plus what it's like kind of playing with arguably 2 of the best hitters in the country right now, who are likely going to be player of the year watch list members for the entire time.
Absolutely.
And so you can check that out now as well. That came out on Tuesday. We got the video version up on FOX19 NOW Sports and on the website, as well as on the audio version under FOX19 NOW Sports. Gold Standard comes out tomorrow on Friday, and Offsides with Gabby Sorrentino is set to come out on Mondays.
Absolutely.
So you got all the content.
I'm about to say, it is not just on our television channel that you have fantastic content to dive into. We've got a lot of great stuff coming out.
Tons of great digital stuff and stuff that you can take in at your own rate whenever you want it. So those are always there. But that is all that we have for this week. So thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.